Okay. So welcome to the Psychology of Spinal Awakening. I had like a little light bulb moment the other day. I was running a class and I was watching one of my students doing the Spinal Awakening, and I realized that probably many of you are bringing that same mindset that you used to bring when you used to go to the gym, or maybe when you used to do like yoga or Pilates or whatever, into the Spinal Awakening. And I wanted to teach you a completely different approach, a completely different way of thinking about your Spinal Awakening. So when we're doing weight training, we're doing high intensity, it's always about pushing and pushing, and there's a lot of resistance, and that's the nature of the training. When you're doing yoga and when you're doing Pilates, you're constantly being taught to control your body, contract, control your breath, control everything. What we're doing here is completely different. It's almost like I want you to trash everything you've learned up until this point and come with a completely blank piece of paper and do this differently. And what I want to share with you is the most valuable thing that I learned that allowed me to go from, yoga flexibility to contortion flexibility in a matter of a few months. It was a major shift in my mindset that allowed me to achieve that level of flexibility. So I'm gonna go over the Spinal Awakening routine with you guys, and and I want you to instead of lying down and like pushing these blocks to like open different segments of your body, I want you to ultimately melt into it. So when I was doing really intense flexibility, it came to a point where it was so painful. In fact, I want to tell you the story of how I even came about discovering this wonderful, simplest techniques ever that allowed so many women to go from avoiding surgeries to flushing down their painkillers and just creating something so simple that you can do for the rest of your life to hit that reset button and keep your spine in alignment, because we really don't have any activity during the day that's opening ourselves up. Everything that we're doing is constantly closing ourselves down, whether you're on your laptop, whether you're on your phone, whether you're driving a car, washing dishes, picking groceries, everything that we're doing is constantly, and then we have gravity on top of that. And so what happens by the end of the day, we're just kind of, and as time and years go by, we just shut down and we close down. Also, if some of you are coming from a background of weightlifting, things like squats are spinal nightmare because you're further or shrinking and compressing your spine. And so this is a time and place where we're actually taking the opportunity to elongate, decompress, and then open ourselves up in the opposite direction. Because what happens over time, and I always explain posture, it is really, it was really shocking to me when I discovered, when I was researching posture, and there's one of the greatest TED Talks of all time by Amy Cuddy is on posture. And there was a big Harvard study, and they found that they call it expansive posture for 2 minutes a day actually increased testosterone by 20%, and was linked to leadership behavior and confidence. And then the people that had poor posture, they had a tendency towards negative thought patterns and a decrease in testosterone. And so the discovery and the findings are incredible. They're astounding. However, the solution and all the solutions out there that I found on Google on correcting posture were completely superficial and ineffective. So the biggest solution from that TED Talk was practice 2 minutes of good posture a day, which is really almost impossible, because if you've been going through your life and your body, like all the patterns have been closing you down, you develop something called a default setting. Your default setting is closed up, and so it takes a lot of effort to for you to actually open yourselves up, and it's literally impossible. And I always explain the analogy to Let's say it was your birthday today, Kara. Happy birthday, by the way. Let's say it was your birthday. And let's say last year I sent you this beautiful birthday card by the mail, and instead of just closing it up, putting it in the closet, you decide to roll it up. So it's cardstock, and you rolled it up, put it in the closet, and I tell you, hey, Kara, remember that beautiful birthday card? Where is it? You still have it? You're like, yeah, sure I do. You take it out, and you remove the ribbon, and you open it up on your table, and then what's the first thing it does? It just rolls back in, right? Because that is what's happened over the year. This cardboard has now, that's the new default setting. And so unless we're holding that card stock on the table, the first thing it's going to want to do is shut down. And so 90% of our behavior is governed by our subconscious mind. And so the moment we tell ourselves to hold ourselves straight, within a few seconds, the subconscious mind picks up, and it's not stuff I read. I also tested it out on my kids. So I said, Daniel, your posture. So he's like, and then literally within 2 seconds, he's already back to what he was doing earlier. So it is extremely inefficient to try to correct that just by thinking about it, because our muscles have been weakened, and it's just like a setting that we've been operating for years and sometimes decades. So the only way to correct that and to flatten that sheet of paper, cardstock, so it can actually be straight again, is to use the same mechanism, but in the opposite direction is what we're doing here. So as we're going through life constantly, like folding forward, now what we're doing here is we're opening things up so that we're consistently changing that mind-body dialogue in a way that becomes natural. And that's why I've seen a lot of women, they've taken this training, and women who are well into their 50s or 60s, who come in and they're overweight and they have chronic back pain, and they're telling me that, you know what, I've noticed my posture's improved so much, but it's something that I don't think about. I catch myself when I don't have a good posture because it starts to feel uncomfortable and unnatural. And that is the most beautiful thing. And so the most effective way to correct posture for life is to work from the subconscious. And that's what we're doing. When we're working with our body, we're starting to break these patterns and open ourselves up in the same way that you would roll that cardstock in the opposite direction, so that it can effortlessly just lie down straight. And this is something that you can do every day for the rest of your life. This is not something that, if like with high intensity and heavy lifting, you can only do it for so many years until you become prone to injuries, or until it accelerates the aging and you're just like not able to do it for so long. But with this practice, it is a regenerative practice, because we're actually tapping into the innate intelligence within our spine. And as we're tuning up our apparatus, it is constantly working better. And I always like to give this analogy: you can live your life like a car or like a violin. A car, the more you drive it, it depreciates until it breaks down and becomes worthless. A violin is one of the few instruments that the more you play it, the more fine-tuned the sound becomes, and the more expensive it becomes as time goes by. So I want you to think of your body as a violin. You can absolutely be in a better alignment and work better and be healthier, more vibrant, and more youthful as time goes by. Okay. And I know it's a whole different concept, but you can actually grow younger, healthier, stronger, more vibrant, and then maintain that. Because as we're elongating the spine, guess what else you're doing? You're making more room for the discs. Now the discs have space to go back in their original position. You're optimizing nerve supply. You're optimizing the oxygen and flow of nutrients throughout your entire body. So now everything can work better and every organ can function better. So now throughout our amazing spinal twist, the shoulder opening spinal twist, we're going deeper than a lot of the yoga spinal twists that I've ever done. And by going deeper into it, we are also able to flush our organs with fresh blood and oxygen, help our liver detoxify. So you're getting almost like a full-on makeover from the inside. This practice has been my greatest contributor to obviously looking and feeling younger than I ever had in my life. There was a time in my 30s, in my early 30s, and even in my 20s, that I felt so many years older, and all the health conditions I struggle with. So I'm definitely going to get into hair and the nails with you guys throughout this meeting as well. I know there's been a lot of conversations about it. that I want to shed some light on, as opposed to just like share little text notes in our chat. It is a conversation that I want to go in depth. So that's why I decided to do this session. So so if you guys want to go ahead right now, I mean, if you're sitting down or you're in your office, I totally get it. But if you want to go ahead and dive into the spinal awakening, I want to really teach you how to melt into it and just open up your body. So we're gonna get into that. But the story of how I came across this beautiful, simplest, most profound techniques of the spinal awakening, it happened when I was training for this contortionist pose. There was a complete, like, just a hobby thing on the side that I wanted to do. And I came in to do my training at the gym. So I wouldn't do the usual gym training. I would just do my own thing, but it was just a space that I went to train. And I started, I came in one day and my back was in so much pain from all the training. I was literally almost in tears, and I was just gonna leave and drive home because I felt like there was absolutely nothing that I could do that day. And I was really, really frustrated because I made it all the way there, thinking that if I just made it there, then somehow I'll be able to push myself, but I couldn't because I was in so much pain. So I lie down on the floor and I was just like, what am I gonna do? Am I just gonna go home? And someone left these, never put these back. So there's some yoga blocks lying on the floor, on the gym floor. And I'm like, I don't know, something just like compelled me to just grab them and start putting them in my back in these different positions. And I literally noticed, and all I could do is melt into it because my pain, I had so much back pain. All I could do is just like relax and melt into it because I couldn't push. I couldn't, like, you know, do the usual. And I noticed that literally within minutes, my entire back just opened up. And I couldn't believe that happened. And so then I went into my more intense flexibility and was able to actually progress that day, which to me was mind blowing. So long story short, I refined some of these techniques and simplify them, and, you know, worked with so many over time to find out what really works. And it's just been magic. It's like, you know, I always give this analogy, you know, we all religiously brush our teeth every day because we don't want cavities and we want good oral hygiene. But like, why doesn't anybody teach us about the spine? Like, our spine, it's a lot easier to fill cavities. And I know there's some people here in the dentistry space, but it's a lot easier to fill cavities than it is to do spinal surgeries. I've had some calls, unfortunately, where some women were paralyzed from spinal surgeries and there was nothing that I could do to help them, and they were in tears. But it's too late. It's simply too late. And we all have a golden window of opportunity. And I've sadly, I've also seen that in my own family. My father suffers from severe scoliosis and arthritis that's crippled him, and it's too late and there's nothing that can be done. I saw an old man at the grocery store the other day with scoliosis. He was bent forward, almost like my dad, like almost at a complete 90-degree angle. And at that point, you're absolutely stuck. You can't even straighten yourself up. But it's like, had like my dad, or, you know, had we had this knowledge in the same way that our parents teach us to brush our teeth for 2 minutes a day, had we had this knowledge to do this for just like 10 or even 5 minutes a day, we could have completely rewritten that entire physical, mental, and emotional destiny. Because at that point, you're completely imprisoned in your body, and even the painkillers won't save you. You are absolutely imprisoned in your body. And it is like, it almost brought me to tears, but that's why I do what I do. And this has been the greatest gift. It's literally giving me the wings to fly, the ability of me to take this crazy obsession that I've had. Just tapping into all of that has completely turned my life around. And that's a whole other story that I think I'm also going to get into. I don't know if you guys want to hear it. At some point I probably will, because there's just so much to it. But I mean, maybe some of you have joined. I'm not sure this is possible for you. I went through years and years of my life and so much pain with so many health conditions, everything from my gut to my hair falling off to my teeth filling with cavities, to my skin breaking, to being depressed, being consistently bloated, people thinking I was pregnant when I wasn't, chronically constipated. I mean, you name it. I refused to be on pictures. I didn't want to leave the house. And at some point it got so bad that I'm like, if I'm not going to do anything, I'm literally going to die. So I became, sometimes hitting that lowest point in your life is actually the greatest gift, because a lot of times we can somehow manage when things are not good. We can just kind of like, push through it. But then sometimes it comes a point where it's like we hit the rock bottom and the only way to go is up. And so that was me. And I was desperate to try different things. And that's how I came across some of my greatest discoveries with the kefir. And I also had massive eczema, like all over my neck, and the worst place of all, like around my eyes. And, and then I was able to completely turn that around in my gut health and find my happiness again. And obviously, achieve my healthiest, most fit, most flexible at 40. I'm 43 now, but it was a major journey, but I had to really, I had to open up my mind, because I was stuck for many years in a very kind of dogmatic way of thinking of like what the healthiest diet should be. And I've given a lot of my power to gurus. And I always tell you guys, like the experts and the gurus, spend more time listening to your body. I've spent so many years just trusting what other people were saying when my body was falling apart, and I completely shut myself down from listening to this. But I listened to these people, and later I became friends with some of these people who are on the front line, who are inspiring people. And then they found out that all of their teachings were not so great and were not so accurate, because so many people were experiencing all these health issues. Listen to your body, listen to your inner voice. I like this beautiful space, and this program is all I want to do is empower you to listen to your own body. And there's never going to be a cookie cutter approach that is going to fit everybody. It's going to take each and every one of you a different pace to get there. And it doesn't matter, because it's all a beautiful journey that we're enjoying. And there's no like exact measurement, an exact time frame, and an exact time length. It doesn't matter, because you're going to get there. And all it is a grain of sand in the lifeline, in your entire lifeline. So what is a few months compared to the rest of your life for you to achieve your goals, for you to heal? And you know what, even if 100% of all your goals are not going to happen, I want you to know that even if you get there 80%, you're already 80% better version of yourself and experiencing life at an 80% better way. So, and then for many of you, you're going to have goals, and you're going to far exceed these goals, way beyond what you thought was possible for you. So, that's kind of like a long story short of how I developed this, and how I learned to relax myself, because I couldn't get anywhere if I was pushing and I was in pain. So if you guys want to grab your blocks and just lie down on them, and I'm going to go over this with you, just to show you a little bit on how I do it when I do it. So wherever level you're at, so let me just, whatever level you're at. So even if you're using this level, okay, even if you're using this level, I'm going to demonstrate, with this level, okay? So a lot of times I see you guys, and you might be doing, or even if you're just using the one block, it doesn't matter what level you're working on. It's just what matters is the technique and the mindset that you're using. So over here, see, if you look at me, I could be doing this. I could be like trying really, really hard to like open up my back, and I could be tensing my hands, and I could be tensing my feet. This was one of the greatest things I learned when I took a Lamaze class before giving birth. if you're gonna tense your hands and you're gonna tense your feet, everything's gonna be tense. Your vagina is also gonna be tense, everything's gonna be tense. There's no way you're gonna be able to open anything up in your body. So we're here to relax. Remember, a lot of times we're also dealing with too much stress in our life. So your ability to master this process, ultimately the goal is for you to learn how to cultivate this inner calm that no matter what life brings you, you can bring that into every area of your life. Okay, so like you're going to bring that into your spinal awakening, you're going to bring that into your splits, you're going to bring that. Sharon brought it when she was traveling to she missed her flight. I mean, the old Sharon would have blown up and exploded, but she just went through it in a calm, way. You're going to bring that into everything, whether you're running a business, whatever it is you're doing, you're not going to be ticked off by little things. The number one killer, the number one cause for accelerated aging and all the illness is stress. Okay. Also, if you're struggling with losing some of the belly fat, it's because you're running on cortisol, you're constantly stressed out. So even if you're applying some of the stuff, but you're so attached to the outcome, you have so much anxiety about your weight loss, you might be stuck. So those are things that we're going to talk about later as well. Okay, so here we go. So right here, I'm going to, if you're doing this, your back is actually not opening at all. So instead, I'm going to be, you're gonna be moving to create this massage, but I'm going to imagine like my rib cage completely opening. I'm gonna imagine myself like everything in my midsection here is completely elastic. And I'm gonna imagine everything just falling onto the mat, like as if you're Elastigirl and your shoulders are just naturally dropping and your hips are naturally dropping. And that's something that definitely I want you to bring when we're doing the frog, when we're doing the splits, because you could be pushing those splits really, really hard. And someone actually ended up hurting themselves in class. And they're like, I'm so frustrated because, again, you're frustrated because you brought so much anxiety and you're so attached to the outcome that when I started shifting my entire mindset, it was when I was working on this contortionist pose, and I realized that like, and the pain that I was going through, it was almost like a near-death experience. And so I'm like, I have to change something about how I do things because I'm not gonna be able to progress with that kind of mindset. So I had to completely relax. Okay, so you're gonna relax your breathing, you're gonna melt into it literally like butter. So you're not gonna be doing like all this like pushing and pushing and pushing, because you're not gonna get further. You're just gonna bring more anxiety and more tension. And so you're just going to, so look at how everything just opens up and melts into it. So of course you're gonna spend time massaging, but then you're also gonna spend time focusing on opening up your rib cage. Like I want you to visualize it and feel your rib cage opening. I want you to feel your chest and your heart opening. I want you to feel your neck extending backwards. When do you ever extend your neck? I mean, if you have any weakness or anything going on in your neck, or you're coming in with previous neck pain or injuries, then please do put a pillow underneath your head and do not extend yourself beyond what's comfortable. But before you come into, when you're coming into any one of my classes or Lauren's classes, we always ask that you let us know if you are dealing with some major healing, or if we're doing certain exercises that are not feeling ideal for you. Let us know, because there's always modifications to help you where you are and to where you need to be. But the only way we can guide you is with getting your feedback and knowing what it is you're dealing with. Okay, so we're gonna be like, so if you could imagine, like in order for you to float on water, you have to fully relax too. Because if you tense yourself, even the slightest bit, you're gonna sink. So that's how I want you to think about this. It's like knowing that if you tense yourself at all, you're going to sink. So after you've done the massage movements, I want you to completely relax. And everybody teaches all these breathing techniques. And the best breathing technique that I have found was, I want you to tune into what your breathing is like when you are at your most relaxed state. So if you right now were to have a bubble bath with your favorite music, or if you were to float on the most pristine waters, what would your breathing pattern be like? And that's the kind of breathing I want you to bring into your practice. I don't want you practicing. I mean, if you have another breathing technique you really like that's helpful, by all means, but that's what I found to be the most effective for me to allow me to fully relax. Because your relaxed state of breathing is different than someone else's. Okay. And then I want you to tap into it by imagining yourself in your most perfect environment where you're the most relaxed. So again, the goal here is to bring you more in tune with yourself and with your body, and not with someone else's ideas of what you should be doing, in what time frame, how much. And you are more, there's more intelligence that is available to you in your body all the time. And I want you to start connecting with that, because it's going to speak to you more. And maybe there are great things that you're supposed to discover that haven't been discovered yet. How are we ever supposed to innovate or discover new things if we constantly follow everything that everyone else says? And give our power away and disconnect with tuning with their own. But we're taught that as children when we go to school, because if you want to get an A, then you have to spit out everything that the teacher talked about and what's written in your textbooks. But then how are we ever supposed to innovate and come up with better ways of doing things if we never are rewarded for our ability to think for ourselves and create new blue oceans? And it's really sad, because that upbringing as children then stays with us for the rest of our life. And I've told this story before. I've told the story of how baby elephants are trained in a circus. So the way that baby elephants are trained in a circus is, when the elephant is really small, they take and they put a chain around its foot and it's connected to a pole. And then the baby elephant tries to break free, but it's the chain is too strong for it to break free. And all it takes later is to put like a little tiny string around the elephant's foot. And when that elephant grows to be this almighty creature, all it takes is to still have that string for that elephant to have that conditioning that it cannot break free and go anywhere far. How many of those strings do we have attached to our feet, to our wrist, to everywhere in our body? That's the conditioning that I would love if you could break free from. We all have that to some degree or another. And so this body work allows you to get in your subconscious mind. It allows you to release all these things. It allows you to rebuild yourself. It allows you to trust your body in a different way. It allows you to relax. Some of us are going through life and we're in a constant fight or flight mode. We don't realize that our breathing is so shallow. We don't realize our heart rate is so fast. We're constantly in a fight or flight mode. We're draining ourselves. And then we wonder why we experience all these things. Sometimes I get messages like, oh, do you know why this is happening when that's happening? And I always ask, did you have any unusual stress? Yes. So your eyes twitching, or all of a sudden this pops up or that pops up. even if the only thing you accomplish here is you getting yourself out of this fight or flight mode, or being able to completely turn this stress response off and just cultivate this inner calm, that alone is going to extend your lifespan, extend your youthfulness, and your ability to enjoy life so much more. So anyways, remember that baby elephant story, and next time try to identify where these limited beliefs are coming from, because they're not yours, and they don't belong in your body. And sometimes we don't even know where they are. But through this practice, you're going to be releasing a lot of things. You're going to be unwinding a lot of patterns and a lot of maybe ideas and ideologies that are not yours, and they don't serve you. They just keep you in prison, like an elephant in a circus or like a bird in a cage. But we're here to earn our wings so that we can go wherever we want. So does that make sense? I can answer any questions regarding the spinal awakening. I just want you to melt into it. I want you to use the same idea. Like if you were to float on the water where you have to fully relax and trust, you can't fear that you're going to sink, because the moment you fear, you tense up and you sink. So the only way for you to float is to trust and to fully relax. Like there's nowhere for you to fall. There's no lion that's going to eat you. Okay, so just relax into this.
Brilliant, Ilana.
Yes, go ahead.
It's
Did
brilliant.
I have a question? Is it Jenny?
Thank you for sharing. It's brilliant, Ilana. The elephant string on the foot. That's amazing.
Mm.
I have a question.
You're meant to be a flying elephant. Right? Everything is possible. Everything is possible. I love when women are discovering capabilities in their body that they never thought they had, or that they believe that, oh, well, this wasn't for me, and that was because I have this issue. By the way, here's another wonderful thing. One of my favorite quotes of all time is the Mary Kay quote: "The bumblebee ergonomically should not be able to fly, but it flies anyways because it doesn't know that." So if you guys think I have any genetic predisposition to being more flexible, or I'm double jointed, I'm certainly not. And you know, if you think something like that runs in my family, it doesn't. I just told you, my dad has severe scoliosis and arthritis, and my mom's not much better off. And I didn't know that, but I later discovered that I have a very inflexible thoracic spine. But if someone would have told me that before, and the only way I found out is because one of our really, really good family friends, a chiropractor, and he's like, "Hey, you guys should just all come in for an adjustment." And it's not something I ever do. So he's like, "Ooh," he's like, I thought you'd have like a super, super like flexible back. And I do, but I didn't know that my thoracic spine was just not like, but I didn't know that before. But had I been told that before, maybe I would have accepted it and been like, "Oh, you know, I would love to do that, but I can't because I have this." Guess what? Your body is so intelligent that different areas are going to compensate, because I was so determined. I was so like, my soul was on fire for me to be able to get there. And so my body just figured it out. And so other areas of me became overly flexible to compensate for that. In the same way that, you know, blind people develop an exceptional, you know, senses when it comes to their hearing, and they can compose, you know, incredible music, and they can do things, or, you know, or sing, or people that have one sense that's impaired, then the other senses become super heightened. And so don't use your limits as something to hold you back. Know that there are other gifts that you have that are going to overcompensate. I wrote a thing about it. I called it Superpowers of the Less Capable. I should bring that show. I actually wanted to put a little book together with all of my, and a lot of this stuff, like, you know, a lot of this wisdom becomes available to you when you're tuned into your spine. And when you access all that beautiful thing, it's like, you are the greatest book that's ever been written. Okay. You are the greatest masterpiece that's ever been created. Start to realize that. Start treating yourself like that. start you treating yourself like the all wise and knowing. Okay, you may not have all the answers right now. I definitely didn't have a lot of answers, but I just knew I would get there. But you have this beautiful family to love you and support you, and I'm more than happy to guide you. But I'm only here to help you listen to your own voice better and just tell you what I've done that's worked, because there are some things that are going to apply to everybody. I always say, keep your spine aligned, keep your colon clean, and keep your gut happy. Life is not that complicated, honestly. Okay, so Elizabeth, you had a question, love. Yes.
Okay, so I have been, this is my third day doing it, and I do relax into it, and I use the mindset and everything. The longer it tenses up more and more and more to the point that I can't hardly get out of it to lift my pelvic up to get the block out. And I'm like shaking now. Is it just trauma stored in the back?
So you're relaxing, and then your body locks up?
Yeah, the longer I lay there, the worse it hurts, and I just start shaking.
Okay, so then so then you're staying too long. Because remember, like if your body is used to operating at a certain a certain way for decades, right? That you've been holding things in it. I always say we all have these emotional compartments in our body in the same way that a squirrel buries their nuts underground. Okay, the secret place that only the squirrel knows what. We all have that. So for some people, they'll store stress in their neck. For others, it's going to be their shoulder. For others, it's going to be their mid back. For some, it's their lower back. For some, it's their hips. We all have this secret, and sometimes it's not even a conscious thing that we're aware of, but you'll notice that these areas start to get triggered when there's more stress in your life. Okay, so maybe that's exactly the area where you're storing all these things. And it's not an intentional thing. It could be a completely subconscious thing that you might not even be aware of. That's just how you're dealing with emotions and how you're dealing with stress, or maybe things you actually don't want to deal with. Then you just hold it in your body. And so remember, if you've had these patterns for like maybe decades, and all of a sudden you nailed it, you target that area right away, that's a lot of stuff to release. So then I'd recommend, you said the longer you stay, the more intense it becomes, then stay less time and then do a counter stretch to balance it out.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think that's going to be, and then the salt baths are really important so that your muscles do actually have the minerals. So the mindset is wonderful, but like even if you're super excited about applying all this, but your body is just deficient, and you don't have enough magnesium, then you're gonna your flexibility is going to be compromised. Okay, magnesium is just one thing. There's a lot of things, but that's why we have the nutrition and detox and lifestyle. So so try that and let me know. And yeah, and then you might have to tweak it. So that might work for now, and then later you'll be able to stay longer, and things are and you're gonna feel lighter. We actually don't realize that all these emotions are so heavy. We're carrying that every single day. Like, imagine if you're climbing like this really tall mountain. I mean, that's the story of your life, you heading towards your goals, and you have a backpack full of rocks. Well, all this baggage from the past, all these emotions, all these traumas, all the stuff is like super heavy for you to carry. And then once you let that go, you feel light as a feather. You feel light, you feel vibrant, you feel young, you feel like a kid again. If you watch kids, they're like floating. Like kids just float through life. Like they're like, you know, the way that they don't have all that baggage. Look at adults and how they're walking around, even like teenagers, with the nerd neck and all the conditioning and all the strings, right? Everywhere. Like there's so much heaviness that it's not, if you put them on the scale, you won't see it, but it's all this like emotional and spiritual heaviness. So feeling light again is being youthful again, being like a kid again. Okay, I'm ready to take on any other questions regarding spinal awakening. And then the other stuff I have coming up for you is we're gonna do talk about eye exercises, feet exercises, and an exercise for stimulating hair growth, because I know that's another thing.
Ilana,
And then any other nutrition, detox, and lifestyle questions. Yes.
Ilana, Would you have some specific advice for, let's say, spinal awakening, stimulation that can help, for instance, shoulders to heal? Like
Have
placing the
you done
blocks.
a shoulder opening spinal twist?
No, I haven't. Like I've never seen this part of the protocol.
Okay, so that has been like one of the best exercises to help women heal their shoulders. Okay, so I can go over that right now. Anyone who wants to get some guidance on that, here we go. That's the spinal twist that I mentioned was far more effective than a lot of the yoga twists that I've ever come across, because it also targets the shoulder. Okay, now, do you have a shoulder injury, or it's just naturally tight shoulders?
Well, I'm not quite sure, in fact, but like I have, let's say, pain when I move this way.
Okay.
Like,
All right.
like there is one particular point here that hurts.
Okay, Alessandra,
Yeah.
I had the same pain right there for a long time because I'm a fitness trainer and I do a lot of weight training. And as soon as I did the spinal twist that Alana's going to show right now, it's gone. But of course it took, several twists. Just getting into that pose, I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's gone. It was right here. It was killing me right here for a long time. And it's gone.
Yeah.
I've seen women like that had frozen shoulders, shoulder injuries for over 10 years, resolve that. But I'm always reminding you, when you're first getting into it, don't go full on. I always remind you of, if you're healing like chronic pain or an old injury, always use a microdosing approach where you're just going a little bit into it and releasing, a little bit into it and releasing, because that way you're teaching your body. Because the first thing your body wants to do and your mind wants to do and your nervous system wants to do is signal that, like, oh, it's not safe, there's pain, just stop it, don't go there. We don't know how that's going to turn out. And so by doing this microdosing, you're like a little bit, and then you relax and you're like, oh, it's okay, it's not a big deal. And a little bit more, it's like, oh, it's not a big deal. And it's like a little bit more, it's like, I can do this. And then it can go a little further. Okay. So I'm going to show you this process of the microdosing approach. And that's for anyone who is coming from a place of dealing with, has injuries or chronic pain or whatever that may be. Okay. And that microdosing approach doesn't only apply to this particular exercise, it applies to every other exercise where you're targeting an area that has been, that has been a sensitive area for you. Okay, so you're going to lie down on your stomach, and then you're going to extend your, let's start with the left side. You're going to extend your left hand, and you're going to put the palm facing the floor. And then you're going to bring this foot to face the ceiling. And you're going to make sure that your feet are touching, and then they're in alignment with your bum, with your hips, and that everything right here is perfectly aligned all the way to your shoulders and your head. Now, if you're starting out and your neck is not as strong as it needs to be, you can put a block right underneath your head. I'm going to show you what it looks like so that you can relax your head. Okay. Now, if you are in good shape, we're also here to strengthen those neck muscles and to increase the range of motion. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to work on bringing both knees to face the ceiling. Both of my feet are in line with my bum. A lot of times I look at you guys and you're completely like out of alignment. You're doing this funny zigzag thing. So it's, and sometimes we think we're straight, but we're completely not aware that we're not. Okay. So it's really important that if you could imagine that I drew a straight line on your mat, and if you can imagine you're lying perfectly on it, that is a good start. So you're gonna, now if you're microdosing, then as a beginner, this might be all you need to do. Okay, because you're gonna gently feel on your shoulder, and that's all you need to do. Eventually, how you progress in this one is you work on bringing both knees all the way to the floor.
Are
Okay,
your feet completely together?
my feet are together, so right foot in alignment with the right butt cheek,
Okay.
left foot in alignment with the left butt cheek. Now, be mindful that my arm is actually at a 90-degree angle relation to my body. Sometimes you guys put your arm here, and you're not gonna get the same benefits as if you're actually extending it at a 90-degree angle. And so this is what it looks like over time.
How much time?
It's up to you. Up to you. Then you're gonna come back,
Naturally.
lie down on your stomach. You're gonna rest your head and just breathe here for at least 30 seconds. At least 30 seconds, if not more. And then you're gonna repeat the same process on the other side. And I'm just gonna show you what that looks like.
Ilana, could you
Yeah.
could you then do the same exercise but from a different angle from the camera so that I can see how you exactly place your
Yeah, so now I'm doing the other side, and that should be, okay, just let me know which angle you want me to do. So I'm doing now the other side.
Yeah, she means your head to the camera so we could see the alignment of your body from your head to your hips to your feet.
So my head
To the
is in
camera.
alignment with my left breast right now. My left breast is in alignment with right here, okay? And
Yeah.
then my feet are right in alignment with my bum cheeks, okay? Like if you were to draw a straight line from my head, it'll go right like this way.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so Alessandra, I can't get into that position like Alana does. I have to sit.
Yeah, some of you, for some of
on my
you,
butt.
for some of you, your feet are not gonna be touching your bum, you're not gonna do this. Some of you, you're gonna need a little bit of distance, and that's okay.
I can't even
Okay,
get
with a
my,
little bit of distance, it's gonna be
I
like
can't
this.
even get my knee off the floor.
Yeah, I know you won't, but so
Okay.
can I just show them how I do it? I do it on my butt. I first sit
Yeah.
on my butt and then I lay down and put my arm out. And then I move my feet over in this way. It's still very, very tight, but I can't do it from my belly to roll over. I have to do it on my butt and then lay down.
Okay, that's fine too, because the goal is to get in that position.
But it's still
And
very-
Alessandra, if you'd like me to see
Like
you,
this?
then I just need you to
I
move the
mean,
camera a little further away so I can see
okay,
your
so
body.
let's see if, so I have my arm,
Yeah,
mean,
I see your
then-
arm.
let's see, and I try and unite my feet on the other side like this.
Yeah,
And now what should I do with my legs? I need to try
yes,
and move my
yes.
legs
So
to the
knees are gonna be
opposite side.
touching the floor. It doesn't have to happen now, but that's the goal, touching the floor towards where your arm is extended.
Yeah,
Ilana,
I
is
mean,
that right?
I don't get to the floor, but I get the tension that indeed works on my shoulder.
On your shoulder and your torso as well.
Yeah,
And I've had
and
women
it feels
saying
good.
that,
It's a good tension. I mean,
yeah, it's a good tension. And I've had a lot of women also reporting better releases from the coffee enema after this wonderful twist in the abdomen.
yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, I'll do that. Indeed.
Yeah, I would say the spinal awakening and the shoulder opening spinal twist, like that is like your go-to daily medicine
Yes,
kind of
exactly.
approach.
Yeah.
So like some things you can skip, but these like, even
Yeah.
if you spend like 5-10 minutes on your spinal awakening and that, it's
Absolutely.
incredible.
Yeah. No, and it's nice. I mean, like there's a very nice sensation because it's warm as well. So which I think that really, I mean, it means that it improves the circulation as well.
Yes, it does. It improves circulation and brings a lot of vitality right over here. At the same time, you're opening your shoulder and your chest.
Yeah.
working on your neck.
Yeah. I love it.
Awesome. I'm happy to hear. And you'll see how quickly you progress and go further
Yeah,
into
it's
it. It's gonna
great.
feel even better. There are a lot of times there's also releases in the lower back with this position. It's very similar to that twist the chiropractor does to release the lower back. A lot of times my lower back releases and it feels incredible. Any other questions regarding Spinal Awakening or anything? We're gonna dive into, like I said, eyes, feet, and then questions regarding anything nutrition detox.
I have a question, Ilana, regarding the Spinal Awakening. I love to see your posture when you do the Spinal Awakening on the lower back with taller blocks, because that's something that I kind of, like, I think I'm doing it right, but I love to see you so
Yeah,
that I
okay.
kind of confirm. Thank you. Because the lower blocks are no problem, but once I start to get high, it feels a bit awkward.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's once you've done it like this with one, so I putting this in my lumbar spine, then I'm lifting myself up, and then I'm resting my shoulders onto the mat, and then right here I'm gonna be like, so I'm gonna extend my neck and I'm gonna.
So your rear and your shoulders aren't supposed to touch at the same time at
Well,
that
not
height.
not
Is
at
that
this
correct?
level, like,
Okay, thank you. At the lumbar. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I
So
see.
it's like
'Cause
as the hips drop, then you want your shoulders to drop too. You don't want to just lift yourself up and like, you don't want to be doing this like, you can, but the idea is you're gonna lie down and then you're gonna allow gravity to drop your hips and drop your shoulders.
Yeah, but the part that felt awkward for me was when I'm kind of, or like when I see you rocking back and forth, it's like, what do I do with my head? But now I see that I'm kind of doing the same thing as you, so I feel better about that.
Your head, again, your head is also dropping and relaxing. It's
Yeah,
not-
yeah. Thank you.
See, I thought the shoulders were down. They're not down. Down.
Well, it's the shoulders are touching this, and then we're gonna drop our hips, and then you're gonna spend time allowing, like I said, if you can imagine that your rib cage is opening up, and this whole area is super elastic, that it just like opens up and melts and opens up, and you know how like if you've ever been like, I don't know, somewhere like, and you've seen like gum factories, okay, and you see these big machines. I mean, I don't know, go on YouTube and watch like how it's made gum, and you'll see like a big blob of gum and the machine's like kind of stretching it all out. If you can imagine that your midsection is kind of like gum and it's just like stretching out, and your rib cage and everything is kind of opening up like that. That's what I want you to imagine. So like your hips are dropping, and then, so your hips are like the heaviest, and then your head is the heaviest. So let gravity pull your hips down, and let gravity pull your head and shoulders down. Don't fight balancing who wins, okay? If you battle yourself, you're gonna lose. So don't fight with like, who's gonna win, who's gonna touch the floor. Just rock yourself, do this little movement so that it massages your back and opens it up, and then just kind of go into a place where you're honoring this mountain experience. And I'm also, I've put together this beautiful playlist. It's all like classical music, and I find that combining the two is absolutely the ultimate experience. Music activates all parts of your brain, actually. So while you're opening up your body and untangling all these strings, it's really beautiful to also weave in this classical music that's completely rewriting everything, because it makes you feel safe, and it makes you like it's the Mozart effect and you don't have to listen to Mozart. Extremely healing. So
Classical music.
I
has
have
the
that
same-
playlist. I'm gonna have to share it with you.
I was
because
just gonna
it's
say
really beautiful, but I'm
classical
constantly
music
like,
has the same wave frequency as the earth, so it's very relaxing.
yeah, it's really beautiful. Like that. That's like, and that is like your go-to meditative practice. That's just your sacred time with yourself, so that you're in tune with your breath, with your heartbeat, with your inner voice. Like that's where you have to shut down all the noise from everyone. I mean, even the people that you love, even your family, it's okay. Like we're better where we take care of ourselves. So okay, I'm happy to answer any other questions relating to training and spinal awakening, and then I'm ready to transition to eyes, feet, hair, and nutrition, lifestyle.
On the spinal twist, there was this one class that Carla was doing something with the block. On
Oh
the
yeah.
mean,
So that is a more advanced one, and I can go over that.
That'll be awesome. Thank you.
So essentially it's the same thing. However, I did find that then if you're putting it underneath your hips, I find that you also need to put it underneath your arm. Okay, so what we're doing here is you're putting a block underneath your legs. Sorry, underneath your bum. Then you have to twist even further into it. But if we were to balance it with then putting, there's different ways of doing it. So that's one way of going a little deeper into this twist when it comes to our hips. And the other way, well, that's really intense on the shoulder. If you want to go even further into the shoulder, is to put a block right there. So they both work in leveling up the intensity of the twist. Okay, so this is definitely not for beginners or anyone that is dealing with any healing. It's only if you've been doing the spinal twist for a really long time and you're really, really comfortable and you're really feeling adventurous on taking it to another level. And there's also different variations of the angles you're positioning your arm to target different areas within your shoulder, because there's different little pockets of sometimes where people have tightness. And okay, so okay, are we done with questions regarding exercises, or that I can transition to feet and eyes?
I just wanted to ask you something. I have mentioned it before. I'm so grateful with these 2 blocks and your spinal awakening. Like, it's just my very favorite. Within the first 2 weeks, I pretty much cleared the pain from endometriosis that I was living every day in and out, sun to moon. Like, it was just insane, this pinching freaking pain. And in 2 weeks, I'll be visiting my gynecologist. I was trying out so many, pills and stuff. And I wanted to tell him what I've been doing with you. But I'm sure as a doctor, he will be like, what the hell, And then I wanted to have an answer for him. Because what I wanted to ask you too, if there's a way you can do like a poster or something that I could put in that clinic. Because I'm 100% sure that there will be more women that will be in the same situation as I was 6 months ago. And maybe somebody will just, find you there too. So I just can't wait to be with my doctor and just tell him what I've been doing for 6 months, and that I threw away all these pills and all this nonsense.
I think they would think you're crazy.
Which I already think I am, but
it takes a very specific kind of doctors to really empower people to do that. I mean, yeah, I don't know. The best thing that that I can offer is, if you want to share your story to empower other women, like I said, you can send me a video, or that is the best. And then we can, you know, you can be one of my poster girls. We can share your story with, you know, a lot of women, with probably millions of women as a part of our marketing campaign. So that is probably the best. So that people that are seeking for this, that want this kind of help, it'll come to them. So that is I mean, putting it in someone else's clinic, they might have ideas on why you're promoting something that, yeah, it's just, I don't know how to really approach that, but
I don't know, it was just an idea, and
yeah.
doing the video for me, like, I just want to tell everybody, you know, it's just,
yes.
it's really so easy
And
for me,
I want you to tell everybody, because it's a beautiful thing, and so many are living in pain and don't know. So we'll figure it out, but I think that would be the best.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I know he would give me this look, and he will be like this, that, you know, because he couldn't figure me out for years, and he was trying so many nonsense hormones and pills and things. And anyhow, I just wanted to say once again, how grateful I am with you and this too.
We're gonna have this event. We're gonna have another event coming up, which is all about awakening our sexual essence. So stay tuned, because that's gonna be a really, really important, amazing session on helping us heal that aspect of ourselves and step into the into our womanly power ultimately. So I'm really excited about that. Okay, so if there are any more questions regarding training, I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, I'm going to transition to eye exercises. Okay, so I am really determined to help as many of you trash their glasses or improve their vision as much as possible. And I know a lot of it is possible. And I always explain, sorry?
I'm cheering you on. I said yes.
That your eyeglasses are essentially the same as a wheelchair for someone that has a weakness in their leg. Okay, it's as if we go to the doctor, you say, hey, I have a weakness in my leg. And they're like, oh, no problem, my dear, here, I'm prescribing you this wheelchair, just roll on it for a little while, and you wouldn't feel that pain that you had in your leg or discomfort. Well, guess what? If you have a weakness in your leg, then what should you do? You should train it so that you regain strength. However, if you start using that wheelchair too long, you're never going to be able to walk again. And that's what glasses are for our eyes. It's the same as a wheelchair is for the legs. Now, when people are handicapped, they're handicapped, but our vision has to do with, number one, our spine. There's a direct link between our spinal alignment, our posture, and vision. There's a direct link between our nutrient intake. And that's why in our nutrition detox, I'm really big on the nutrition side. And cod liver and cod liver oil are one of the best things because it's got the vitamin A and the vitamin D. And that's really important. I mean, some people swore they trash their glasses just with carrot juice, but it's not as, it doesn't stay, the vitamin A doesn't work, the beta carotene doesn't work the same as vitamin A when you're getting it from cod liver. So that's going to be really effective in you rebuilding your vision and just eating more nutrient dense foods and less of the anti-nutrients. Okay. So spinal alignment, nutrition, having the key minerals. And then the next thing is, remember, we talked about stress. Stress is the #1 killer. Stress is the #1 diminisher of our health and vitality at all levels. And so what happens a lot of times, we're holding so much stress in our face muscles, then that affects our vision. And by doing these eye exercises, we can release the stress, but we're also strengthening our eye muscles because they've been so weakened. So I know Sharon has had improvements with her vision. She's been wearing glasses and contacts for a long time. She went to her ophthalmologist. There was already improvements and something we incorporated recently. I was prescribed glasses many years ago and I refused to kind of wear them. And I'm glad I didn't, because my vision's pretty decent, but if I had worn them then I would be relying on glasses. So, so then what we're gonna do is we're gonna do these exercises that are really, really simple. And I want this to be like, just like your spinal awakening, your shoulder opening, spinal twist. Just stick to it like for 2 minutes before you go to sleep. You're actually gonna find that you're a lot more relaxed when you go to sleep as well. And not only that it's gonna help you improve your vision, but I also want to remind you that Botox is a muscle relaxant. So when women are getting Botox in their face, ultimately what they're doing is they're relaxing these muscles, because the stress and all the tension here is also contributing to accelerated aging and wrinkles. So by us learning to naturally relax our face muscles, essentially we're accomplishing a more youthful appearance long-term naturally. Okay, so another really important thing in regards to relaxing our face muscles, see, it's the same thing that when you're lying on this, you realize how much tension you've been holding in your back. But I'm here to remind you that it's not just your back you've been holding tension. There's so much tension you're holding in your face. Now, there have been some crazy studies that have also found that that people that got Botox injections in their head, there was an improvement in their hair growth. But the only reason why is because it was relaxing. We're holding sometimes so much stress here too, that there's not enough blood circulating, and then we lose our hair as well. So I'm just here to give you the alternatives to accomplish things naturally, because that's what I believe in. And so, I mean, at the end of the day, we have to learn how to de-stress ourselves, okay? Because that's going to help everything. It also is the exact same situation when it comes to our feet. All these feet misalignments and all this tension we're holding in our feet is also affecting how what we're doing with our feet all day, and all the misalignments we're having in our feet. So like literally relaxing from head to toe. So what I want you to do is you can practice these eye exercises right now with me. I like to do them lying down fully. And I'm going to teach you how to draw things with your eyes. Okay, so let's all lie down and I'll guide you through it. And if you can incorporate this too, sorry?
It's Jamie. Sorry, I have to go, honey. You have a beautiful day. Thank you.
Okay, love. Mwah.
And Lana, can I ask you why you're lying down before you get started? Can I ask this? So the cod liver oil, I know you've mentioned it before and it's in your information on your site, but do you have to, how much you take, and do you have a tip? I don't care for fishy taste. Do you have a tip for the best way to take it?
Oh, I mean, I just put a spoon and I take it. It says a teaspoon to a tablespoon. It just depends. Like if I don't take it for a while, I'll take a tablespoon, but then, yeah. So
maybe chase it with a little bit of coffee or something, or
maybe try to squeeze lemon juice or add like a drop of essential oil, like I would pick tangerine or orange essential oil.
Okay.
Or lemon essential oil, and maybe squeeze some lemon into it, and just I would say the liquid is better than capsules. There's a lot of processing that happens with capsules, and then you're just paying for capsules and that whole processing that also damages the oils. So I would really recommend getting the actual liquid.
Okay, thank you.
Like, I mean, just be a big girl. It's for your health. It's amazing for your eye health. It's amazing for your skin health as well.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Everything that I'm recommending to you guys, like I said, I was going to cut my nails because they've gotten too long. These are my nails. There's nothing on them. There's nothing like it just grows because of everything that I'm teaching you guys that I'm doing. There's nothing. There's no like special supplementation here. It's just what I eat and what I'm teaching you guys. And we're going to talk about that. Like I say, when health is a foundation, beauty is a byproduct. So, okay, here we go. We're going to lie down. We're going to practice our beautiful eye exercises. you're gonna lie down and you're gonna be closing your eyes. And you're gonna close your eyes and then you're going to look as far to the right and as far to the left as you can. So imagine I give you this big purple crayon and you're a happy, excited kid full of energy, and you're gonna draw this big line. You're gonna like take a piece of paper and just go and draw this big line from right to left and left to right, and just like do this non-stop as far as you can movement. Okay, so you're gonna do right to left, right to left. This is really good to actually do if you can, lying outside so that the sun is actually shining on you and you can see like red with your eyes closed. It's super recharging when you do it in the sun. I like to do it before bed, so that's my little routine. And then you can also do it with your infrared lights, closing your eyes, and practice it this way. So you're gonna do right to left and left to right as far as you can. Then you're gonna do up, down, up and down, as far up as you can and as far down as you can. And this is gonna be the really fun part. Then I'm gonna make you draw a big, big circle clockwise and counterclockwise. And it's going to feel like you're drawing either a triangle or a square or a diamond. And it's like, and it's only gonna get more perfect of a circle as time goes by and you trained your eye muscles to do what you want them to do. Okay, and you're gonna be spending the time doing these beautiful circles. And you're actually gonna notice that once you are done with your eye exercises, you're gonna feel this tremendous sense of relaxation, like throughout your face, throughout your body. That's why I love doing it before bed, because it's just so wonderfully relaxing. So there are many more exercises, but those are like my go-to right now. Remember, I'm here to simplify your life as much as possible. I'm not here to add as many things. In the same way that gold is refined is by removing impurities and removing all the things from our life that take time and they don't deliver things as efficiently. That's what we're here to do. We're here to identify the fewest things that you can do, like the fewest exercises that will give you the best results. Okay. So that's the goal. So just stick with those, and if you can incorporate that 2 minutes before going to bed, like in order to establish habits, if you have the same time during the day that you do these things, like the same time you brush your teeth, you're not gonna ask yourself, oh, do I really feel like it? Do I have the time? But like, no, there's something else I need to do. It's not going to be a thing. It's like you do it, you don't think about it, and it's done. And boom. In the same way you brush your teeth, it's like every morning a certain time, or before bed a certain time, and there's no like mental contemplation and procrastination. There's no opportunity for any procrastination to take over. So this same thing, if you can apply this little habit, 2 minutes a day, can turn your vision around. Okay, we can correct our vision naturally. There's actually a whole book, I share that in our chat, I think it's pinned, on correcting your vision naturally. So yeah, and there is actually, I shared the chapter there on the link between posture, spinal alignment, and vision. So we're already doing the two things. We're already taking care of your spine, we're already taking care of nutrition. The last thing is the eye exercises. Like you're already 75% there. So I'm like, why not? Why not? And I want to see you guys trash your glasses, or, you know, get to a better number and then eventually get rid of them. Okay, so now we're going to do the feet exercises. So I had an elastic and ended up ripping. So the feet exercises, I'm going to put on my toe splitters. And as I mentioned in class yesterday, these are not the best. It's just what I had at home, but I'm looking to add the best ones that I can find in our store. but I think they're out of stock on Amazon. So I'm just gonna demonstrate with this. Okay, so I'm gonna put my toe splitter on. And this is something that I've been wearing a lot throughout the day because, you know, maybe I've like kind of revolutionized my spine, but I never realized that I've had bunions for probably at least like 20 years. And I had a very interesting incident when I went somewhere and I wore heels for a really long time. And I don't think those shoes were good at all. And since then, I've had so much pain in my feet, especially where my bunions are. So there must be some patterns I've been holding in my feet. So I've worked on like the rest of my body and I feel great, but there's something left in my feet that I haven't fully kind of mastered and rewritten yet. So I was determined to do that. And also what the next thing that brought to my attention was one of our wonderful students. She mentioned that she's due for a foot surgery. And I've heard a lot of women going through surgeries for their bunions. And then I had another woman in class that said that she was able to completely heal her feet and avoid surgery by doing certain things. And so I was determined, and I looked at this event that happened to me with my feet that triggered all this pain and inflammation, because literally all of this was inflamed, like for, I don't know how long since I've had that incident with the heels. And I'm like, I don't know, but something needs to be done. So I realized that in the same way that we can heal chronic pain and flush our painkillers down the toilet, as Luz was mentioning, we can also heal our feet and bring our feet in alignment. If I've seen women who've had scoliosis for over 30 years bring their body in alignment, I know we can do this with our feet. And then I discovered a way of doing that. And then I noticed that all the inflammation that I had around where my bunion area was, like all this was red and inflamed and hurting constantly. It like, there's no more redness. And I've actually forgotten about it because it didn't hurt anymore. So if I could achieve that in such a short period of time, I'm determined that I could actually align my feet and help many of you go through the same process and avoid surgeries. And this is something I've, you know, as we get older, the feet are just as much of a problem as the rest of our spine. And I've watched my grandma deal with her bunion pain forever as well. So I think healing our feet, bringing our feet in alignment is just as important as the rest of our body. So you can go through the day, like if you're at work, you're sitting for long hours in front of your devices or whatever it is you're doing. I mean, it really doesn't matter. Nobody's going to look at your feet. Just have these, not these, like I said, I'm going to get better ones, toe splitters. And then this is the exercise we're going to do. You're going to get an elastic band. I don't know what this is. Some of my kids got it. It's a band, but it's like super, super thick elastic because I've ripped the other ones. Or you can get like a asparagus elastic at the store, you know, that they're really thick. And here's what I do. I'm going to put it, because my toes are kind of going inverted. So I'm going to put this, I'm going to put it right here, and I'm going to then stretch, because like the same way that I mentioned that our body all day long is leaning forward, while there's these patterns in our toes, and our shoes are constantly pushing our toes inwards. Okay, now you can also do this exercise for your pinkies, but I guess you'll just have to use maybe a hand or something if your pinkies are going inwards, because especially women's shoes with the pointy toes, everything is being pushed inwards. Sorry, I'm just gonna hit the mute button. So this is the same way that our spinal awakening works and opening up your back. So if we can bring the same Alana's method to our feet and experience the same transformations we do with our back, this is what it's going to look like. This is how we're going to do it. This is our the equivalent of spinal awakening for our feet. So you're going to pull this band this way. So this is like the only time that our toes actually get to be pulled in the opposite direction of constantly being pushed inwards all day with our shoes. And I found this to be so incredibly healing. Like I'm telling you, I've had this insane inflammation for like, I don't know, it's been like weeks after I've had that incident. And this has literally taking it completely down, and I've even forgot about my foot pain. Now, there's still a way for me to align my feet, because we're talking about like 20 years, but I know this stuff works just because of the quick results. So anyone who's dealing with bunions, now there's also socks, not toe socks, they're toe separating socks that I'm gonna be getting, and I'm gonna be adding on the store, so that, because maybe that's something you can even sleep with, because these things are not comfortable. You're not gonna be sleeping in that. It all depends on how, you know. Oh yeah, exactly, Leslie. Actually, Leslie, why don't you share the story? You're my foot queen.
The bunion girl. Yeah, sure. I don't know. I actually sent you the website for this. And
Yeah,
it is on
I
Amazon.
know they have it on Amazon. We're gonna add it to the store.
Yeah.
Happy
Okay,
Feet.
awesome. Yeah, it's called My Happy Feet. And they help to, you know, like when you go to the nail salon and you get your toes done, those are great too. If you have those laying around in your nail kits, guys, wear those around, you know, the toe separators. My teacher out in California actually created something called, oh God, I'm having a blank. Structural foot balancing. Rest in peace, Patricia Kramer. She's passed on now, but she actually had a trademarked form of foot body work called structural foot balancing. So anyway, these socks, yeah, they help to separate your toes. I practiced massage for 20 years and I worked barefoot. I couldn't work with shoes on. I felt so disconnected. So, but from pushing off, like wearing closed-toed shoes, it pushes that large big toe towards the little toe, causing the foot to pop out a sixth toe for balance, hence the bunion, right? So what I would do is I would take, when it got so unbearable and I still had to work, I took 2 of the triangular cosmetic foam wedges and I would put it in between my big toe and my second toe, and then I would wrap it with tape. And I wore that for a month straight. I wore my Crocs. I didn't care because I did not want to have surgery, because even if you have the surgery and you don't address the causal aspect, your foot will present that sixth toe again. It will never heal. So the surgery doesn't work. So yes, Alana's genius with this whole toe exercise, because as well, the curvature of the spine is the exact curvature of the foot. This is the cervical spine. This is the thoracic, the lumbar, and the sacrum. And at the base of it, on the other side, you've got the uterus point and the ovaries point. So it's all, it's exact, it's precise. It's a map, like the ear, the eye, the foot, the hand is a map of the whole spine, the whole torso of the body.
So I recommend when you guys are gonna get this elastic or whatever, like, I don't know, I just found, like, you know, there's these bracelets or whatever, find something that is thick enough to do the job. Like I see Ilona, she's got an elastic there, but it's very weak. It's like, you know, your resistant bands. You got like light, medium, and heavy. Like this is heavy duty because I need some heavy duty. Like I want to like go full on.
It's the asparagus breath.
So this is like the elastic version of like, yeah. I mean, I would recommend getting something like more heavy duty, like, you know, these bracelets, like everyone has these bracelets. I don't know, like,
yeah, like the plastic Just Do It bracelets.
Yeah, exactly. It's something along these lines. But I did have an elastic that was like really, really thick, or you can combine a couple. I mean,
yeah, exactly. I mean, like you can have 2 or 3 of them at the same time, and then
yeah, but you know what? Eventually they're gonna rip. So don't.
Yeah, of course.
Like get something decent. Go to the dollar store. I'm sure they have them or something. You know, because these elastics are gonna keep ripping, and they're gonna be like, that's what happened to me. But like this is an amazing workout. Like it's like, I don't know. I honestly, like my feet are like liberated after, because it's like constant pushing. And just like Leslie was saying, you do the surgeries, it's not going to eliminate the cause. You're going to have that bunion coming out of somewhere else, or like something, your body is going to constantly want to compensate for a lack of balance. So the only long-term sustainable solution is you finding that balance within your feet again, just like we do with our spine. And then, yes, awesome. I mean, that is a good start. That is a great start. So I don't know, maybe I'll add that to our store as well. I told Daniel, so maybe we'll add the toe separators, the socks, and maybe we'll find like a band like on Amazon. You guys can get like everything.
Bracelet, one of those plastic bracelets.
You can make Alana's method bands.
I should actually
put affirmations on them.
This one is from
Alana's happy feet.
You guys are
built with
keeping
integrity.
me very busy with like bands and toys and unicorns and I want to do it all. I want to do it all and all that fun stuff and little skirts and outfits and whatever and leg warmers and fun stuff, and I want to do it all. So it will happen. Just be patient with me. So okay, so we covered eyes, we covered feet. I want to talk about stimulating hair growth naturally. So we talked about what's going on with all the stress we're holding here. So, you know, we do those neck stretches at the end of class, and then we do that scalp massage. That is a beautiful way of actually stimulating the circulation within your scalp and relaxing everything that's going on. And another beautiful thing that you can do is you can actually, so whether you have a ladder or you have a chair, you can hang backwards. Let me show you. I'll use my ladder, but you can use a chair. You can hang backwards and then just pull your hair. So you're actually stimulating, blood flow. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab my ladder. One moment here.
While she's getting that, I have one of these things. It's a happy head massager.
Those are awesome.
I know them. They're cool.
All right, so you can grab a chair. You can probably grab your stool as well. I'm just gonna show you with a ladder because it's right here anyways. But the idea is if you have an inversion table, even better, like whatever you have. The idea is for your head just to hang backwards. And if you can just pull your hair. So
is it all your real hair?
What?
Is that all your real hair? No extensions?
That's my hair.
No way.
I
want to come over and pull it.
You can't pull it. I wouldn't be pulling it if it wasn't my hair. So
what about this? What about this head massager thing?
What?
There's a double tingles happy head massager.
Yeah, any head massager is great. You know, you can use your hands or you can get some fancy head massager.
How many times do you do that a week?
You can vibrator on your head. I mean, whatever you want to do. So there we go. You're gonna be pulling your hair. So
how many times do you do that a week?
I actually don't do much of that. I don't do much like
how did your hair get that long?
I just eat well.
Yeah, what? What do you do?
And I do my spinal awakening.
No way.
Diatomaceous earth.
Come on.
You know what? I used to do that, but then when I switched my diet and went more carnivores, I didn't need to do any of these supplements anymore.
I can't believe
none of it. And the problem with diatomaceous earth and clays and all that is that it can bring to it can calcify you, like if you do too much of it. So I found that the best stuff was just
Pulling your hair.
meat, eggs, you got your kefir, and that's the best stuff. So like I mentioned, my hair was falling off at an alarming rate. And then when I finally started eating properly, then all that, well, yeah, I started originally with the reason why I started with the clay and diatomaceous earth is because I was still refusing to eat meat at the time. And all the good stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
That's actually my point, because you mentioned this elephant story. My whole thing with animals is like, the only reason I'm a vegetarian, or was for, I don't know, more than 20 years, is the ethical reason. So how can I get away of that resistance?
You know what? And that was my reasoning, but my body was falling apart at such a rate that I had to do something major. Like the amount of hair that I was losing, the amount of cavities I was getting, my nails couldn't grow, like my skin was breaking. And I know some of you have mentioned things about like other experts on how to grow hair. And there was a suggestion of like, you know, all the protein from the spirulina and the chlorella. And I went through a phase where I used to eat more supplements than food. I'm telling you, I am that girl on earth that has eaten more pounds of spirulina and chlorella than anyone on this planet. Like I was eating pounds of that stuff. I was ordering the stuff by bulk because when I was vegan, that was my like go-to food, because and I heard about all the wonderful things and the protein and the antioxidants and then this and then that. And that was the time when my health was the worst. My hair was falling off like crazy. My skin was constantly breaking. All of it, just all of it. The candida, the issues, the constipation, all that stuff. But if that stuff was so good, why did I experience these things? And I found out later the guy that was behind the company Health Force, which is all about spirulina, that a company around spirulina, he actually died of cancer. I think there was something about lead poisoning in his products. So there's a lot of lead and a lot of things that you're getting with your wonderful supplements that are supposed to detoxify you. They're actually poisoning you with heavy metals. So
the last time I tried to do a chlorella regimen, I'm prone to hives because of a medication I was put on in the 90s, but head to toe hives.
Wow. I had more chlorella, again, spirulina and chlorella. Like I was eating that stuff like by the pounds. I would get like massive. I'm telling you guys. So anyone that tells me that that's gonna change your life, you know, if you want to be the guinea pig, go ahead, try it. You can try it for yourself, but I'm not going back to that because that was just and I've tried all kinds of brands. It doesn't matter. I'm not going back to that lifestyle. And again, that's when I was listening to all the gurus about all their suggestions, but like I wasn't paying attention to my body. Like if my hair was falling off at such a rate and my skin was reacting and everything else about my body, I was blindly following the people that were saying that, oh, but it had all these wonderful benefits. Okay, well, you know, placebo also didn't really work, but it took me a long time to wake up from it. So everything that I'm teaching you, like the hair, the nails, clearing my skin, even reversed cavities, it's so simple. It's so simple. There was an interview with, I think, Joseph Peterson's daughter. I think she went carnivore and she healed so many of her issues. And it was an interview with Dr. McCullough, I think, in him. And even Dr. McCullough has been selling supplements. He had like the #1 alternative health website on the web. They said, yeah, when you go carnivore, you don't really need a lot of supplements.
I have a question.
So, yeah.
I was just wondering, like, what do you eat in a day?
Yeah. So a lot of times you guys are like, oh, but I do what you recommend, but I'm still not getting results. Okay, well, maybe because you're not eating the right quantities. So I say, yeah, but I eat my eggs and I eat my meat. Well, how much of it are you eating? So like maybe you're having 2 eggs a day. Well, that's not gonna cut it. And then they're having like beans and quinoa and all this other stuff that I don't know, someone sent, and I was like, well, you're not, everything else is a filler. Your primary like nutrients and calories should be coming from your meat. So for a lot of women, 2 meals a day is more sustainable than 1 meal a day. I have been doing the 1 meal a day for quite some time. Sometimes I'll have 2, but my later meal is going to be just a lighter thing. So ideally, the first part of the day is when you want to have your most your biggest meals, and you want to go to bed and sleep on an empty stomach. You don't want to be digesting when you're eating. In fact, Alessandra, I think you've had amazing success with more carnivore-ish lifestyle and intermittent fasting. If you want to share your experience, you certainly can. You're muted, love.
Yeah, I was thinking, I mean, like you essentially are describing exactly what I'm doing now. I mean, so the thing is that I definitely, you know, like, I mean, I didn't come with lots of issues, so I mean, I cannot say, okay, I got these amazing results, but
Yeah.
definitely, I mean, like let's say the weight loss, I mean, together with the OMAD, so 1 meal a day, I mean, was definitely, let's say, the most sustainable success I've been having. I mean, I'm still struggling with it, because I mean, like, unlike you who have this amazing body, I mean, but I mean, I lost weight, but then I also gained weight. But the thing is that, I mean, like, together with being extremely convenient and teaching yourself and feeling nourished and teaching yourself to listen to your hunger cues, right? I mean, like, you essentially like ease yourself into a kind of rhythm that becomes sustainable to you, and you listen to your body in ways that essentially you have no cravings, you trust your hunger, right? I mean, like, so what happens essentially is that I mean, like, you don't eat anymore because you are nervous, you don't eat anymore because you're frustrated, you just eat because I mean, you're hungry.
Yeah.
And to nourish yourself, and that's it essentially. Then you go on with your life. So I mean, like the relationship you gain with food when you eat carnivore is also beautiful. I know lots of people who, I mean, got lots of benefits also from the point of view of concentration, from the point of view of mental health as well. I mean, like, they feel like more balanced. I mean, like, more, let's say, less fragile. I mean, like, life can throw things at them, and they are, let's say, more stable, more, you know, like, grounded in a sense. So I would say, I mean, let's say, I feel generally good. Your inflammation goes down dramatically.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, lots of let's say skin diseases, autoimmune conditions, I mean, like, clear themselves. I mean, I have, I mean, a small thing to say here, because I started for some years to have a very tiny spot of rosacea, which was not going away. And I mean, like, the carnivore diet definitely cleared it up. I mean, like, it's a small thing that I can say, but maybe, I mean, like, I can say that for, but so, I mean, I would say I wouldn't go back from this kind of lifestyle, not because, you know, like, I mean, like, it's miraculous, but because there are very little things that ground yourself up. And in fact, I mean, like, already without kefir, for instance, I had, let's say, candida condition, which went away. I mean, just I mean, switching to a carnivore diet. So I mean, like, definitely there are
This
lots
is
of
not like a
lots of
normal thing that's
benefits.
gonna happen. I know my stuff.
Can you tell us what you're eating?
Me?
I talking to me or talking to Alessandra?
Both.
Yeah, Alessandra, by the way, you're a university professor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I am.
very, very informed woman.
But it took, I mean, again, if you look at, I mean, like people, I would say in university, I mean, like are just as ignorant of these things as everybody else. I mean, like it was because I took somehow, I mean, I saw people die. I saw people really being very, very unhappy. I started to think of it, I mean, in a sense as a problem. And then I started to investigate and think things about how should I solve my own problems, for instance, and how to help others if I can. And I must say, I mean, like I wanted to tell you, Ilana, because I was, I mean, just when I was, I mean, when you were talking about your method and your insights, which are really, really beautiful. But I must say, I mean, if I hadn't done, let's say, my research on my own and had come to certain kinds of conclusions, I mean, I would have said, I mean, like this is complete craziness, this is complete snake oil. Whereas I was at the point in which, I mean, like I was ready to see how much sense, I mean, like what, I mean, your insights and the combinations of different things, I mean, like make. But the thing is that, I mean, like people at university, people like, I mean, like you mentioned Jordan Peterson, for instance, and I mean, like he is also very much like, I mean, like controversial and considered strange, but he was one of these people who experimented, who saw the problem, who were looking for a solution. So, I mean, like, so in a sense, I mean, like, it's also nice to have this community because there is so much knowledge here, which is not really, I mean, like acknowledged yet, you know, like in the mainstream, and lots of people, you know, like, I mean, are very ready to dismiss it without seeing the beauty of it and how much sense it makes. So, I mean, like to go back to the question, I mean, of the other person. Well, what I eat in a day is well, what I feel like eating. First of all, I mean, like it's simple because I eat only, I mean, like 7 meals in a week. So like I look at what I feel like eating, and typically it's like bacon and eggs, for instance. I mean, like couple of days. Or for instance, liver and chicken liver and bacon, that would be another thing. Or for instance, mince meat. I mean, like I mean, like what I eat is definitely very, very simple. I mean, like I cook very, very simply. I mean, like the bacon in its own fat, and then I add the liver. I mean, like something like that. And I mean, I typically, again, I mean, just by trial and error, I see, I mean, how much I can eat in one meal. Sometimes I make a mistake, and, you know, like I eat 2/3 and then like 1/3 of it like a little bit later, like 2 or 3 hours later. So that's what I do. And what I do is like I privilege fat. So, I mean, I make sure that everything is heavy in fat.
Yep.
And I mean, like, but again, I mean, with a little bit of trial and error, one gets more or less the hang of what exactly you can eat. And I mean, like, I would recommend everyone, I mean, to go easy on the fat, increase, let's say, slowly, because you can have very strong diarrhea. I mean, like I mean, on this diet, I mean, there is no constipation whatsoever. I mean, like the problem is actually the other way around. I mean, like you can go very, very, you know, like loose. But again, yes, I would advise to go. I mean, to slowly increase the amount of fat up to, I would say, 80% of your calories coming from fat and 20% from proteins. I mean, that would be. I mean, like, and then see how it goes, because if it is too much fat, you will see it, and I mean, like, you will not absorb it right away. So you might want to decrease, and then I mean, like, it's the micro dosage that you were advising. I mean, like do it gradually, get to a point that you feel like it is your sweet point. But essentially, I mean, train yourself to trust your instinct and know more or less, without measuring, without counting calories, without.
Exactly. I never count calories. If you don't eat enough fat, you're not going to be satiated. Okay.
Exactly.
But it is also very important that you eat the right kind of fat, because not all fats may equal. And if you're having vegetable oils that you're cooking in, those are damaged oils that are doing a lot of damage to your body, and they're going to stay in your system for months and months. It's going to be very hard to detoxify from, and you don't want that. So I don't use any oils to cook other than ghee. Or you can cook it with ghee or butter. And then obviously when you're having meats, you want to have the fatty meats. If you're just going to be eating chicken breast, you are going to be starving. You're going to be starving. So ditch the breast and go for chicken thighs. Okay, that's like the fattiest, and go for fatty meats.
So is it literally, Ilana, so you literally, like, so meat and fat, you don't have vegetables, or do
No, I do have vegetables. I'm not doing 100% carnivore, but I used to eat a mountain of vegetables and like a tiny little bit of meat or a tiny little bit of egg.
Which
And
is
I'm
what they always
you know
say,
what?
isn't it?
Why is this not working? Why is it not
Yeah.
working? So I switched it around. So now I do, like, my biggest, like, calories and nutrients are coming from meat and eggs. And then I'm doing some vegetables. So I love steaming vegetables. Like, I love my purple cabbage, the broccoli, the Brussels sprouts, cauliflower. I love the cruciferous. Cruciferous are really good for actually removing bad estrogen from the body as well. And then, and then my meat and my eggs. But like, if I'm gonna eat eggs, I'm not gonna eat 2 eggs. I'm gonna eat 5. I've eaten 10 before. And my God, and I feel like, I mean,
that's like Dr. McCullough said, didn't he? Because that was the thing that was been so interesting, because you've got so many people saying mustn't eat meat, so bad for you to have too much meat. And I was told this is rheumatoid, you know, you mustn't have this, you mustn't have that. And obviously you need good fats. I need that for my joints. And I do eat meat. And I've got people saying, why are you eating meat? You should be you should be a vegan. It would be so much better for you. You would heal better. And it's like, well, I don't think so. So it's like really refreshing for me to come on. It's always not. It's always like, you know, you shouldn't eat meat. You should be vegan. You should certainly vegetarian.
I was a raw vegan for over 10 years, and I was a vegan for 15 years, and that's where my health was the worst.
Yeah.
Like if I was a vegan, I could not run this business. I was mentally and physically completely depleted. That's when I had my worst health conditions. And women actually need to eat more meat than men, because our hormones are a very delicate thing. So that's when my hormones were completely out of whack too. Women actually need more meat and eggs than men do, interestingly.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
How many eggs do you eat a week per se? Just to throw a number.
Well, if I'm just eating eggs as the main source, then I don't know, lately, like, it's been anywhere from 5 to 10, like, per meal. And then, I mean, that's a little crazy, but then if I'm eating meat, then I'll have like a bunch of chicken thighs or whatever that may be. And sometimes I'll have eggs and meat in a meal. So, and then whatever other meats you can get, like, there's so many other kinds of meats, like, that you can get that are good. The only meat I'm not a big fan of is pork. just because of parasitical infections and just yeah. But everything else, like
filet mignon.
That's the one thing that I have issues with is lamb. Like anything has to do with baby, that like I don't know, it just goes against my mother instinct. But otherwise, the mature animals, I don't know, it's just at some point, you have to realize animals also eat animals, and it's like, I mean, if I would continue to be vegan, I would literally die. So I mean, at some point, think about your service to the world. So that was the thing that saved my life. So beef and bison, venison meat, like any quality meat that you can get. Local.
You had a piece of steak. How big would your piece of steak be if you had a piece of steak?
I don't know. I don't eat that much steak. I've been eating a lot of chicken thighs lately. Like I love the fat in the thighs. And what I do is I actually cook it. I'll put it in a big tray and I'll put some water in the oven, and I'll cook it on 350 for like almost 2 hours. And it's really good. And if you are going to eat breast, then what I do is I put it in there, but it soaks up all the fat from the thighs. So then that's the best way of having it. But that's what I cook the thighs. So I'll put it in I'll fill a little bit of water in that tray. I have a Pyrex tray. I'll fill some water. I put a bunch of thighs, and it's amazing. Thighs are like my favorite when it comes to chicken. So because they're the fattiest and they're just so incredible. So
I just wanted to ask you, at one point you shared this cute little egg in your hands, and I see like the yellow part was just not fully cooked, just perfect. How long boil it?
So how to cook eggs to get the best out of them. So you want to make sure that the yolk is still soft, and there's different ways. So I used to I developed this like sense of soft boiling eggs to like perfection, so that the white is cooked and the yolk is like runny and creamy. And I share that picture. So what I did is I put the eggs in water, I bring it to a boil. As soon as it starts to boil, I actually turn it off, and then I'll leave it in there for like another less than a minute, and I'll take it out. And sometimes it's a hit or miss, but after a couple of times you do it, you find like that perfect spot. You just know the egg is perfect, and you just get it, like you nail it every single time. The other option is pouched eggs, which I don't really like the taste. And lately I've been cooking my eggs with ghee. So you do sunny side up, and you have like a very clear visual of like where the egg yolk is. And you want to make sure that you take it out while the egg yolk is not fully cooked yet. So that's been I don't know, there's something about eggs cooked in ghee that has just been like incredibly delicious.
What is this ghee thing? Excuse my ignorance. I saw it in the pyramid like you share, but I never been into it. What is this ghee? It's like butter?
Ghee is clarified butter, but you can also cook in butter. Yeah, it's been a traditional thing, I think, in India. So yeah, but you can use butter as well. So yeah, that's my favorite way of eating eggs. Another way I like to compensate for needing extra fat is, so I got my meat, I got my eggs, there's kefir. And I want to inform you that when you're completely rebuilding your gut microbiome, you can start doing more, but eventually you don't want to do too much dairy, because dairy is a source of estrogen, and you don't want to have excess estrogen. It's not a great thing. So you just want to do enough as like medicinal doses. So that's what I do with my dairy. If you have anything like in terms of any skin conditions, eczema or whatever is going on in your skin, you put the kefir on, and literally the next day it'll be gone. So highly recommend that. Dandruff is also a sign of candida. It's literally eczema of the scalp. Grass-fed, yes, is always better. So another one of the treats I really like to make, it's like my version of dessert, is I'll make a nut butter. So I'll have my roasted, my favorite is hazelnuts. I'll combine that with almonds. I'll put it in my food processor, and then I'll add flax oil So I'll have my hazelnuts, almonds, flax oil, and then you can add vitamin D drops in there. And you got your omega-6, your omega-3s, vitamin D, and that's your dessert. Like, that's like, I eat that like dessert. And it's so like, it's so satisfying. And it's like, and the almonds are naturally sweet as well. I mean, you can do whatever you want in there. You can add pecans, you can add whatever, and you're also getting your omega-3s. And I don't really do a lot of vitamin D from doing cod liver oil anyways. And then I did talk about cod liver. That's really good. And I want to get into more, liver, but I just really don't enjoy the taste of beef liver. So I haven't tried the chicken, but when I do, I'll let you guys know how that is. But
if you can try rabbit liver, if you can get rabbit liver, is very, very mild. I mean, if you want to incorporate liver, I would start with rabbit.
I don't know if I can get that here, but I'll see what I can get. So that's like, the diet is so simple. You have your vegetables and then you have your other stuff. So
That's not simple for me.
well, because other things, you might have an emotional relationship with other things. So
Like chocolate.
yeah, but you know what you can do? So you can make that nut butter, and then you can add some cacao powder to it, and it'll turn into like the healthy version of Nutella.
Okay, yes.
And then I don't know what sweetener you use. I mean,
Stevia.
I would move away from these things slowly, but in a way that's healthier, and then eventually you're not going to. But if you're going to do it, and then you can put a little bit of maca powder in there with the chocolate, and it adds a really nice flavor as well.
Okay, I have all those.
Yeah, so do it and let me know how it goes. Or you can use lucuma powder as a sweetener for that mix as well.
Okay, what do you think about stevia?
I think it's good that it's a zero glycemic. However, it doesn't taste good I think stevia can be really helpful when you're starting to decrease your intake of sweeteners, but on its own, it can have a really weird taste.
I like it.
It can really throw things off. So
how about that other sugar?
But that's what I'm talking about. This nut butter, you'll notice that it actually has a very sweet aftertaste. Like, it's naturally very sweet. So, I mean, I'm not saying overnight, but slowly as you're transitioning to that. Anything that has to do with emotional eating, as you're spending more time into this training and you're really diving into your spinal awakening, releasing a lot of emotions, and taking yourself from fight or flight mode, and dealing with healing your anxiety and all this stuff will clear too. I don't want to overwhelm you guys too much. Like, we covered a lot today. So, let's just have these sessions more often as we need, and I can bring you guys to where you need to be. I don't want to overwhelm you guys with too many things. Okay. Because then it's like information overload, and then we're like, we don't know what to do. So
I have a comment. I had to jump off for a couple minutes.
Sure.
So when switching to a high fat diet, if people don't have a gallbladder or have a gallbladder, it's not optimally working.
Oh, I see.
So you would just want to take a digestive enzyme with bile salts. That would be really important.
You know what, if you have a condition regarding that, yeah, I don't know, but you would have to definitely, I would say anyone who has a medical condition, always consult your physician. If you're working with a naturopath or someone, just to start monitoring your progress. Like sometimes women are on certain medication, and then they're able to significantly reduce the medication for various things, but it's only when they're being monitored by a naturopath. I'm not a practitioner.
Yeah, I don't have that issue. I'm a health coach, and I know that some people.
Oh, I see. You're asking
come across that issue, and they'll try to start eating that way, and then realize like that doesn't agree with them unless they're.
Well, then anyone who has a certain condition and you're a health coach, you're in the same category as I am. We're not licensed practitioners, so we cannot you know,
Recommend.
give those recommendations to anyone with a condition, but they can take those recommendations and then maybe get some blood work or whatever, some analysis done before, and then be monitored with their practitioner and move along that way. So, or, and their practitioner will know that if they have a certain condition, what is and what is not ideal for them.
I was
So-
just saying it's something to be aware of if you're having issues switching.
Well, and the coffee enemas should help support liver function as well by detoxing liver, gallbladder. That'll help tremendously.
Right, but if you don't have one, that's just something to be aware
Oh,
of.
I'm so sorry. I didn't hear that you said you didn't.
Yeah, yeah, if you don't have that, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are certain conditions that people are gonna have to not apply everything, or like people with thyroid issues. I've had women with thyroiditis are able to reduce their medication with the thyroid with the iodine protocol, but it's because they've done it in conjunction with their naturopath and they were monitored and throughout the whole process. So yeah, so anyone that has a certain condition, that's the most responsible way to go about it.
Alana, do you drink coffee? Did you drink coffee or did you give up coffee?
I drink it rectally.
We know that.
It's a wonderful skill to have. It's a wonderful skill to have, you know?
It's amazing how it wakes you up.
Alana, I just wanted
Oh my God,
to,
someone once shared the funniest social media post once, and it was a mistake they made on a prescription medication description, and it said something like, so inhale 3 times a day rectally. It was just something really funny. It was, I don't know.
Did you ever drink it?
I only drank it a few times when I was in university, and it made me so jittery and gave me diarrhea, and I was wired, and I swore I'd never have it again. So,
Okay.
and then chocolate did something similar to me. So I'm like, it drains my adrenals, and it's just not a good thing. So,
Alana, I'm going to run down a couple questions that were submitted.
Yes.
And that I don't think you hit on. So one of them being, how do you know when the candida is dead from drinking the kefir? And how to know when to reduce the amount of kefir to maintain the program? And the gray hair suggestion. It's if there's anything to help with gray hair and gum bleeding.
okay. So,
that's a lot. I know.
The candida is done. So, when my candida was so severe, I literally felt like a ghost, like it was literally sucking all the life out of me. So how did I know it's gone? I felt back, like I came back to life. Like I actually had energy and I was happy again. So that's how I knew it was gone. But it took me like liters of kefir a day for some time until I became like so happy. I became happy and I felt like I was alive again. And I'm like, wow, this thing is gone. So that's how I knew, and it's gonna be different. But I didn't know back then the iodine protocol. Had I known it, it probably would have been gone a lot faster. And so now that we're combining the kefir and the iodine protocol and the coffee enemas, all these things are removing all that a lot quicker out of the body. And it's gonna depend on how severe your candida is. It's gonna depend from person to person. If it's mild, it won't take that much. If it's severe, it'll take more. So that's how I knew, and that's how anybody would know. Also, skin conditions are gonna start clearing, but I also use topical application of kefir on it. So,
And that will help with the gum bleeding as well?
I don't know what's going on with the gum bleeding, but the contours approach is also very healing for the teeth and the oral health. And kefir is extremely healing for oral health. I say if anyone is struggling with oral health, take a sip of kefir in your mouth after you brush your teeth, leave it in your mouth for a bit. Then when you swallow it, just have that coating in your mouth, and it's going to really rebuild your whole flora in your mouth. That's going to actually protect your teeth. And it's going to also prevent bad breath, because bad breath is also a sign of bad bacterial imbalance. So you're going to completely reset the bacterial imbalance. I also talked about kefir enemas. If some people, I know some people with autoimmune issues cannot do coffee enemas, or the option of doing kefir enemas has also been really helpful when I've had candida. So that is something to consider. If you can't do coffee, try kefir, because you're gonna recolonize your whole colon with good bacteria as well. So
How
you
much
can
do
do
you-
that as maintenance every so often.
How much do you use when you do that, Ilana?
You know, you really can't go wrong. I just intuitively, I just pour like a concentrate like into my bucket, and then the rest is water. And yeah.
And there's a couple more questions that were sent in. I guess one with the gray hair, and then vaginal like smell. And then I think Luce had another one about the arm flap.
Yeah.
Flabby arms. So those are the
Okay,
three
so
questions left.
gray hair, that's again, that is that is like, I mean, of course, at some point in time that's going to happen, but if it's happening as a sign of accelerated aging, then it's has to do with nutrients deficiencies.
Zinc.
So two things. Number one is deficiency. Number two, stress, right? We talked about that stress is the number one contributor for accelerated aging. So your stress could be like running you like from the inside, just accelerating your aging process. And then there's not enough nutrients that, you know, there's certain vitamins. I know the B vitamins are really important, and there's certain nutrients, like the B5 is really important, and there's certain nutrients that, but I don't know if I would recommend taking supplements for it. If you eat enough meat and enough eggs and enough bioavailable nutrients, then that would be the best way. And I think like preventing it is better than reversing it, right? And so number one is the nutrients. Number two is stress. I mean, we all know that people that are more stressful, have more stressful lifestyles, they get gray hair a lot faster. And the third thing I would say is the exercises that we do with relaxing everything that's going on here. So the scalp massages and then the pulling of the hair also increases blood flow, and that means there's more nutrients that become available. So if you eat well and you relax like in your nervous system, because now you're not living in fight or flight mode, you're doing your spinal awakening, and you're actually tapping into that, like mastering that intercom, and then you're stimulating everything, and you're increasing blood flow and relaxing the tension that you may be holding and not aware, then all those things are going to contribute. Now, there's also stories about Anne Wingmore reversing all her white hair to her natural hair color with just wheatgrass. And you certainly can try that if you want. I have not tried that. I cannot talk about it. But everything that I'm teaching you is what I do. So that's a whole other approach with the wheatgrass. But if you're going to do wheatgrass, do the fresh thing. Don't buy powders, because then again, I don't believe in powders. I think powders have been removed of the life force energy, and by the end of it, there's no potency left to any of the claims that are made that a certain food or substance has, because it's just been like, think about it. If you were to take a bite from a cinnamon bark, and if you were to take cinnamon powder, that cinnamon powder has no more potency. It's like, it's completely diminished, like, and it's been oxidized for how long? So, yeah, I can probably bring some more insights on that later on, but those are the main key points. In regards to the arm, like anything here, so like toning that, like the ab roller is great. When you're doing the classic warm up, if you want to, instead of being on your elbows, be a little bit on your arms like that. And if you have an ankle weight, that's also going to be toning this area. So those are good starters. Those are good starters. Anything relating to skin and things of that nature, regular detox like sauna is really amazing for the skin. So clearing all the stuff that's kind of shouldn't be accumulating in the skin, and then toning it. Okay, and lymphatic drainage through skin brushing. Yeah,
The vibrating machine.
The vibration machine too. I'll show that to you guys one day. like, I don't know, I honestly, I don't use it. It's just, if you guys think I spend so much time, to just, maintain where I'm at, I don't. I spend very little time and all this. So like my diet is as simple as can be. My training is as simple as can be. And it's not as much as I'd like it to be, just because of the time that I actually have these days. And so, you can actually achieve amazing results. Of course, when you're coming in, you're applying all these things. There's going to be more of like a transition point and a transformation. But once you're where you want to be, that maintenance is actually very simple. You don't need to train that hard or as many hours. And your diet, once you figure it out where you're at, that's what you stick to, and it just works. So it's like it becomes a very low maintenance lifestyle to stay at your ideal state. So it's not like, yeah, okay, let me see. Yeah, this will be recorded and will be posted. And okay, any other questions?
I just wanted to ask you something about ingrown nails. Is there any
about what?
Ingrown nail? Ingrown, I think
that's ingrown nails?
I usually get it here, like in this corner, and it's brutal. If you have any tricks for that.
No, I don't know, but I don't know why that would be happening. Maybe it has to do something with the shoes and the alignment. Yeah, Leslie, go ahead.
Well, you may be cutting it down a little bit too much, and what happens is then the nail on the side starts growing into the skin. So if you can, let it grow a bit, and then you're going to want to cut a V right in the center of the nail, and then the edges will start to grow towards the V and out of the skin on the sides. Does that make sense? So do an Epsom salt soak on your feet, right? Soften it up. And then when you can, make the V in the center.
Okay.
And then the nail will grow towards the V. Does that make sense?
Total sense. Thank you. Because of my lower back, I had to go every so often to get it done because I cannot bend this way.
Yeah.
It's a disaster. But anyhow, I just wanted to add too, and that's a great idea. I will tell my girl to do it. The last time I was with her, it was like a few weekends ago, and she was like trying to cut my nails. She's like, "What are you eating? This is so hard." And I was just dying laughing. And she said, "You have no idea how many girls come to this place and pay for us to put fake stuff so you have this length and this strength." So anyhow, I just wanted to mention as a whole point for the other girls that were asking about the nails. But yeah, the ingrow idea, I will tell her about it, and so she can work her magic. But yeah, it's been a thing for me since I was pregnant. I think I messed it up big time back then. So yeah, thank you.
I just love the wealth of knowledge that we have here. Like, Leslie, thank you so much for bringing your wealth of knowledge. You're such a gift, and everyone else who is.
Could I share two more things?
Absolutely.
Carla, honey, one indication of bleeding gums could be.
Oh, honey, these weren't my questions. They were. I'm just.
Questions were submitted, but yeah, go ahead.
I know you're proxy for it. I just wanted to share it with you.
Sure.
Sometimes gum bleeding can be a vitamin C deficiency.
Yeah.
Okay. When I do liquid chlorophyll, it's very high in A, C, E, and magnesium. That helps to stop my gum bleeding. And zinc is a deficiency in zinc can cause gray hair.
Yeah, and so liver is one of the highest sources for zinc. So that's what we're talking about. So if you're eating the right things, you're not going to need to start outsourcing that from supplements, because you're going to get everything you need. So yeah.
Okay, Alana, there's another question about shampoo and conditioner.
Okay, I'm not like that's something more on the external side of things. I'm still experimenting, so I don't have like the answer for that. But I do know that women with brittle hair, I've suggested before, like I know my grandma, and like she used to use eggs instead of shampoo, and I've tried that, and I liked it. So if you have really like brittle hair, until you like resolve that with your diet and all that, you can use eggs and stuff like that. Like I've done it, but I'm not consistent with it. Like continuously. So it just depends. I want to create more of a natural beauty addition to the program or an upgrade at some point. So I will probably do that, but that's more on the outside of stuff. What I'm teaching you right now is like on the deepest level, on the foundational, like health level, that's going to be like 90% of your beauty, basically. So, because that is, like, I swear by all these things that I've taught you, in terms of the nutrition, and then the red lights, the near infrared lights are amazing also for your skin and for your hair and for helping women with mental health and transition from depression and just accelerating healing on all levels. The red light therapy is one of the things that like I also swear by. So, and if you can add that with like regular detox with sweating, then you're just, you got your coffee enemas, you got your sweating, you got your red light therapy, and those are like amazing additions to step up your health at all levels.
And I think there's one more question that I don't think you addressed, that I don't think this person's here, so they'll be watching this. Vaginal cleansing. What do you recommend for
you
that?
mentioned about not a pleasant smell. So not a pleasant smell coming from your vagina is also has to do, I think, with candida. So yeast infections, a not pleasant smell, that means there is a bad bacteria imbalance, and the kefir should be like rebalancing all your, your healthy bacteria. So those are things that should be improving as well. I mean, you could also use, like, you can put a kefir capsule in there and like use kefir, or like somehow get kefir in there, and it's going to be very healing. So, but just doing that, like if you just drink it, it'll go through your system. If you do coffee enema, you're going to do kefir enemas, you're going to completely restore that balance. And then with the coffee enemas, just detox the die-off and all that, as well as the iodine, it will be a thing of the past.
There's a suggestion saying that tampon soaked in kefir. Is that something that you suggest?
I haven't tried that. It's a possibility of like retaining it there. It's a possibility of, retaining kefir there. So, but again, it's coming from like deep within. So that's why drinking it, doing the kefir enemas, and that is, like I said, that's another thing that you can do. But ultimately, it's your whole system. Because even if you were just to do it vaginally, but not apply that systemically, you still wouldn't get the full benefit of the healing. So you can apply that vaginally, but doing it for the whole system is a must to really address the root cause.
I think you answered all the questions that filtered in on.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, this was a wonderful session. I want to thank you guys all for joining. I want to thank everyone who shared their wisdom. I want you to know that we will have, I think, more of these sessions to help you guys, evolve. And I don't know, I always love growing, and I always love helping you guys in any way that I can. So I want to thank you guys all for joining. It was just so wonderful. And let me know how it's coming along, how all these applications are working out for you, or maybe you need some additional guidance. Carla is always here. I'm always here. And we have this beautiful chat with so many inspiring stories shared every day. And we're always here for you. So you guys have the most fabulous day. And always, always ask me what else you would like me to bring to help you make this journey an even more spectacular experience. Okay, your journey is my journey. That is my bliss. Those are the things that I wake up to in the morning with joy. Those are the things that I carry in my heart when I go to sleep. And yeah, there's nothing that makes me happier than allowing you to experience the life that you deserve.
Darn it, Lady Kara jumped off before we can wish her a happy birthday.
Okay,
song.
we'll have to do maybe Friday party for her.
Sounds wonderful.
Yes. Okay, my beautiful beings. So this will be posted at a later point. And once again, I'm sending you a mountain of love. Keep shining.
Thank you. Don't
Thank
forget to pray for
you.
me
Thank you so
or have
much,
them pull your
everybody.
hair. Peace.